lots of benefits of greenways. I mean, they're habitat corridors, and this is a big thing. They're habitat corridors for plants and animal species. So animals can move, obviously. Even plants migrate from one area to another along rivers and other natural land. So they're also very important for filtering sediments out of water. And we've got a whole project down on the Makatawa River that's all geared to just improve water quality, where we've brought up a couple of miles of the Makatawa River. And that's a very excellent water quality impact. But the Grand River, the properties that we're buying there are having the same kind of effect. Obviously, space for outdoor recreation is really important to us, and there's all kinds of activities that, and you'll hear more about that in a few minutes as far as the types of things that we can do. Preserve cultural heritage. I mean, everybody knows our history is in our river corridors. I mean, that's where those were the routes of travel for the Indians, the early American Indians, the settlers that settled Ottawa County. They of course were along the river corridor. So there's so much cultural heritage along the river. So there's a lot to learn there. Preserve the rural character and a sense of place. I think we can all kind of relate to that a little bit. We see so much change, you know, all the McDonald's and all the fast food places and all the development that happens. Every place starts to look like every place else after a while. And by preserving these greenway corridors, we kind of can preserve a little bit about what our area is known for and was originally. And of course, the connections that I mentioned before are so important. I don't really have listed on here the economic impacts, and you could talk for a long time just about the economic impacts of greenways in terms of improving quality of life, so you attract residents that want to live in these areas. Businesses can attract employees better. They want to locate in your area. So there's a lot of economic benefits as well that I'm not going to really get into in any great detail. You know, when I talk about how greenways are important in preserving the ecological integrity of places, I don't know if many of you are familiar with Hagar Park, but Hagar Park is over in the Georgetown Township, Jenison area. And when I first started here, this was all undeveloped all around this area. And now you can see it's all subdivisions. So that's quickly becoming just an island of green space. It's a wonderful park, and it surely will be for a long time. We've got great hardwood forests with beautiful wildflowers, some of the best in this area, and we've got some nice native grasslands. But over time, when it's all developed around that park, there won't be any plants and animals moving back and forth, and it will just kind of gradually erode over time in terms of its ecological value. Hopefully that'll be a slow process, but if that was along one of our river corridors, it probably would have a little bit more promising future. I certainly don't want to give anybody the impression that we invented greenways in Ottawa County. Greenways are really popular all around the country and around the world, and there's most major cities that are, you know, really have good quality of life have done something with a greenway, and so there's lots of good examples to learn from around the country. So, okay, back in the mid-90s then, where, you know, we're saying, okay, how do we fund this whole process? How do we get this thing going? And so we decided that, you know, the Board of Commissioners, as supportive as they have been, we're not going to give us a chunk of money to quadruple the size of the park system. Unfortunately, we asked, but that wasn't going to happen. So we realized that we need to look at some other sources, and a dedicated millage, you know, going to a property tax millage for the park system seemed to be our best bet. And we put together a millage campaign. I got to point out Dave Seibold here, who was one of the 3 co-chairs around the county that helped to take the millage campaign message out to people and sell it, and helped us get that thing passed. But this, you know, this is kind of what we talked about. Grand River Greenway was right at the top of the list, along with our other greenway corridors, and Lake Michigan access, park improvements, even park operations in there. So that was our early graphic, just to kind of explain to people as part of the millage what we wanted to do. And so it was a third of a mill, about $25 a year if your home was valued at $150,000. We asked for a 10-year millage, and the first one was approved in 1996, just not exactly a landslide, 53.5%, but it counted. I think by a presidential election, that is almost a landslide. But then it was renewed in 2006 with 67% approval rating. So that was a little more encouraging. And you know, we will need the millage in the future as we go forward. You know, what we've said is that, you know, the first push was to buy land, and then over time, the operational cost of the park system is going to grow. So, and that's of course been happening.